Hey, Kirk.
Michael, it's good to see you. And
Same here.
I've been thinking about the Leonard Buck Lecture that's coming up really soon. And, you know, this is really an important point each year when we come together for the lecture. You know, what are your thoughts about its importance?
It's an important lecture, and we've been running the Leonard Buck Lecture for many years, since I think, if I'm not mistaken, since 1988, almost every year. And it's a great opportunity to hear more about MST and Eastern's DNA, which is very much missions. That's how we came into existence in the first place over 100 years ago. So it is a central place in this place's history and in the life of the college, in the colleges. And this year we have a special guest, and David is going to present to us, and I think it would be great for all of you guys to come, even if you have never been to a Leonard Buck Lecture. Maybe take the opportunity this year and join us, because David is going to share with us.
Yeah, so I mean, David is a scholar who looks at Philippians, but he looks at it from what we would call a sort of missional reading lens. It's a different approach, because we're looking to see what does the letter have to say about God's purposes, His mission in the world today. But it's not an abstract thing, because he's actually going to be looking at what does Paul say about division, and we're in such a divided world. It seems so relevant. I mean, when we think about everything that we're going through in our society or our city, division's all around us. And so if the Apostle Paul has something to say to us about that from a sort of missional point of view, it seems like it's really important to have the space to look at that.
That's great, Kirk. And what I'm hearing is you get something in this lecture that is obviously deeply biblical and profound, but also accessible and relevant for your own context. And that's probably a great incentive to thinking about, hey, this might be maybe for me, because you want to not only to learn something more about Scripture, you'll get that, but you also want to hear how this could apply to your own context of maybe you're dealing with division in your own ministry context, in your church, and there will be something here for you, I trust.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be, and also the format, we call it a lecture. I mean, we do that on purpose, but there is a Q&A, so people can interact with the speaker. But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet, and that's the whole Leonard Buck. I mean, why do we call this thing a Leonard Buck Lecture? Now, that's a guy, that's a person, Leonard Buck. You know anything about him?
You know, I have what I have in my file, but you have a closer connection with him, I guess, because of your field in missional studies. Can you tell us a bit more about him?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've never met him, and he's with the Lord, but he was evidently quite a profound missional person, committed to mission and ministry here in Melbourne and other places, and very influential in starting a number of Christian ministries, and very influential in his contribution to what used to be called the Melbourne Bible Institute, that then later became Bible College of Victoria, now MST. And so it's interesting how we're honoring somebody from the past because they had such a strong vision for God's mission. We honor them each year, that memory that there was actually somebody like that. And so it is significant that we call it, you know, Leonard Buck Lecture in honor of him. So then also, you know, the importance, and coming back to the importance in the life of the college of something like this, is that I think it's easy to let go that mission DNA. You mentioned it earlier. If we don't keep coming back to it and reminding ourselves that an institution like this, including Eastern, was actually founded on missional principles and basis, it's easy to forget that, isn't it? Yeah. And this is that kind of conscious, we're going to visit this again. We're going to dig into this.
You're completely right, Kirk. And we do have plenty of units that speak into that context, into that space. Kirk is teaching some of the missional units, and David has taught many of those. And we also think in the Master of Missional Leadership. So that's really what keeps this college centered really around mission. And the Leonard Buck is just one of these great opportunities. So maybe you're thinking even, and that's maybe something that could come out of this, maybe this lecture will inspire you to think about a unit, you know, in missional studies. You're doing one next year, actually, Kirk. What's that called again?
Well, there's missional hermeneutics next year, where we actually look into some of the various principles that David will be drawing from. But, you know, maybe we should wrap up and just say once again that this space, this Leonard Buck Lecture, gives space to go deep in a reflective way, in an engaging way, in just another angle to think about God's missional purposes in the world and how we're part of that, and how His Word, through the passages of Philippians, can really bring relevance to some of the challenges we're facing. So why don't we leave it at that and just say, you know, welcome you to come. If you're watching this, look forward to seeing you soon.
Great. Thursday, 30th of October, Kirk and I and others will lead you through the evening. See you then.